Okay, I got it. Do I need now to repeat everything that I said before? So yeah, so it requires a lot of work. Specifically about Jewish community, the situation is following. Our Jewish communities actually worked pretty well in the beginning of arranging evacuations, and there are still buses that can kind of evacuate people from major cities, like there are buses in Kiev. We think that today will be the last bus from Kharkiv. It's a problem. Kharkiv is being destroyed so heavily. There's a big Jewish community. There are a lot of people that evacuated, and we think that today is the last bus probably from there. So people who won't be able to get on the bus, we don't know what's going to happen with them. But we are trying to evacuate as many people as possible. Of course, not everyone was able to leave the city, especially those people who have elderly relatives that cannot be transported. Like there are elderly people who, you know, you would love to bring them on the bus, but they just will not survive the trip. So the children, for example, are staying with them, and even in the cities that are very, very dangerous, being bombed and, you know, completely unsafe. There is another problem that men of the age from 18 to 60 years old, they cannot cross the border because they are can be drafted to army. So these families also stay because they don't want to leave their, you know, fathers, brothers, sons, alone in countries. So this family stayed. This is to say that not every Jewish family can be evacuated right now. And there are still people that we are trying to get out. I got two messages today. One is about a woman. Just give me a second. I'll tell you her name. So her name is Zoya Burdol, and she's 94 years old. Yeah, 94 years old. And she is a Holocaust survivor. And she's in Kiev. And we tried very hard to evacuate her today, and also her husband, Evgeny Burdol. But it's very, very hard. It's very hard to go from one part of the city to another city to take these people, because they're unable, even if there's a bus, they're unable, you know, in such an age to get to the bus. So it's very hard, and we're also working on that. So we had two more women in their 70s who also we tried to evacuate today from Kiev. So there's still people who are we trying to find, and we're trying to, you know, find their information, but it often comes from like so many other people that it takes time. And, you know, we are doing everything that we can, but the reality is that since it's getting worse and worse, it's not always so easy to help, even if we have transportation. In many cities, we don't have transportation. For example, we have a Jewish family in Irpin that I just mentioned a couple of minutes ago, and this Jewish family, we are unable to evacuate, and no means, because it's just so dangerous on the roads right now. Every car that is trying to get there is, you know, being destroyed. So for many people, it's just kind of safer to stay in the cities, but to kind of also for you to understand the condition of what they're going through. I just got a message. This is also the same region of Bucha and Irpin. This is a small kind of a town or small village, and they say that we have 200 people. We are surrounded. We cannot leave. Everyone who is trying to leave is getting shot. We are looking for maybe you know, Red Cross organization or anyone else who can come to us and at least bring food and water. We are in the basement. There is no water. There is no food. We don't have diapers, and we have little babies there. Please help us, anyone who can. And there is nothing we can do about it because they are in the cities that we cannot get to them. So as you can imagine, it's a very, very hard work, and we get these messages all the time. And this is just part of this work. The other part of this work is finding help for volunteers, because they need money for gas, they need transport. If we even have some kind of food or, you know, clothes or anything, it needs to be transported from the border inside country, or from Lviv, let's say, which is safe right now, to Kiev or to Chernovtsi or to Zaporozhye, all these regions that are closer to Russia and, which are being now occupied in a much most dangerous situation. So this is another part of the world, trying to find money and trying to send money. And I am lucky to have a Ukrainian bank account, so I can still kind of transfer money and immediately and give money to people there. So for example, yesterday I sent money to a woman who crossed the border to Moldova. She has two children, 9-year-old and 16-year-old, and she needed just money because, she left her home with like a little bag, didn't have anything, and she crossed the border. There are volunteers who meet them. She had a place to sleep. She had food, but she needed money because she needs to, they cannot stay all of them on the border. They need to move either to different country or inside the country. So, for example, I sent money to her. I helped my own friend, was my classmate at one time, Daniel Zilbershtein, to cross with his family. So they ran out of gas. They needed money. So it's like that. They messaged me immediately, like, we need money right now. And then I send them as much as I can. So this is another part of course, a big part of my work is talking to communities like you, the kind of people who want to hear more about the situation. Big part of that is also coordinating with other big organizations like, JDC, Jewish Agency, Chabad, all of these organizations who are working there and providing transportation for people. That's a big part of the work. So this is kind of my situation. I'm doing that, as I said, today is 6, right? I started to do it on February 24th. Since then, didn't have time to do anything else, but that's our life right now. So I think I will kind of pause here and see if anyone has questions or, yeah. Well, I can't hear you.
So,
okay.
Yeah, I'm going to start with the first one, and then we're going to open it up for everybody. So first of all, thank you. And it really puts, a really intimate, an intimate view for what we are watching in the news. It makes it so real for us. When you say we and I are doing work, are you talking about on your own? Are you representing an organization? That's the first question. And the second question is, where's the best place for us to send money if we would like to? Is it to you directly? Is it to the JDC? Is it to the Masorti movement? Those are my overarching questions.
Right. First question, I am working on my own. I do not represent any organization. When this whole terrible situation started, when the war started, I just, I don't even know how that happened. I just began, contacting people immediately, all my friends, because I have a lot of friends. I have family. I have, I have colleagues there. For example, my colleague, a professor of Jewish history from the university that I worked in, Kiev Mogila University, he stayed in Kiev, for example. My students from this university stayed in Kiev. So immediately when this happened, first thing I did is I reached out to as many people as I could. I messaged everyone I knew to know what's their situation. And as I did that, immediately there were a lot of, requests for help. And, I immediately contacted a lot of people. I found, volunteers, I found other organizations and everything. And then requests started to come to me, like, we have this family, we need to get evacuated. Can you help us? I got a message today from a girl whose name was also Alisa. And she was like, I got your contacts from my friend in Israel. My parents are in Vinnytsia and we want to find for them just like a safer building, because the building that they are right now in is not safe. Can you help us to relocate them to safer building? And I'm in New York and I'm doing that, like relocating people, from city to city. That's all, thanks to technologies. So, and your second question was where to donate best. That is a very good question. And I think I have a list of places where you can donate, and I will share that. And I think that best thing to do, Rabbi Bloom, I think if I share it with you and then you share it with the community, right? or I can put it in.
That'd
the
be
chat.
great. I mean, if you can share, I mean, if you're capable of sharing it with the chat right away, that'd be great. And I'll also share it in an email to the rest of the congregation later.
Sure.
I don't know if that's possible. And if
I-
you want us to donate directly to you, if people are moved, there's the question I'm anticipating. Please put that in there too. How would we do that?
So this is the collection of links that I created myself, and you can, if you press it, you will see a number of organizations that I chose that I think are relevant, and I would like people to donate to them. So I will tell you briefly about all of them. So the first one is All Ukrainian Network of People Living with HIV and AIDS. This is the organization that is buying medications and delivering them, then now delivering to everyone, not only to people with AIDS, but you can imagine that people with AIDS and HIV, they are very, very vulnerable because they depend on their medications for them to survive. So they also, as I said, they also buy and deliver supplies, not only to people with AIDS, but that's was their main work. Then we have Emergency Ukrainian Relief Campaign from Odessa. This is a Jewish community. If you click on that link, you will be able to see the videos of them evacuating people that did a great job of evacuating people from Odessa. But you can imagine that we also need money to bring people to the border, for them to leave at the border because they cannot cross immediately. Then if they cross the border, they need money there. So constant, very big need for money there. It's a Jewish organization. Then we have Disaster Response Hub, Airlift. This is also another organization which I think is doing a really great job of, they do medical supplies needs, humanitarian supplies needs, all of that goodness. Then we have, there is another link, Real Ways You Can Help Ukraine as a Foreigner. And that one, if you press on that one, it will open up to you like a list of other links, and there will be links to many, many various charities, humanitarian, and all kinds of, and also link to the relevant information. Emergency campaign for Masorti community in Ukraine. If you're moved to donate to my community, which is Masorti community in Kiev, my Rabbi Rowan Stamov and his wife, Michal Stamova, they just got evacuated today to, they crossed the border today. They were at Chernovitz all this time with the majority of the community, and now a big part of them safely crossed the border. But of course, they still need money because, you know, there's still people. So if you're moved, this is my community. This is the people that I know myself. This is the community from which I came to United States. This is the community that I was planning to go back. And I was planning to go back to Kiev just in about 3-4 months, right? So I had my dreams. I wanted to start a new community in Lviv. Now all these dreams are shattered, but we have another work to do. So this is Masorti community. This is my community. Then here is support to the Ukrainian armed forces. I know for many people it's kind of uncomfortable. People don't want to donate to military, but if you're moved to donate to military, I myself personally ask you to do that. I do that as well, because without military, there will be no Ukraine and no Jews in Ukraine. Like, if you feel more comfortable donating to humanitarian funds, of course, do that. But if you feel like you can donate to army as well, that doesn't mean that they're buying weapons with this money, but they buy, you know, protective kind of armor, or they just buy boots. They buy, you know, they need blankets, they need food, like all of that. That fund does not buy specifically weapons, because, you know, we cannot really donate to buy weapons, but they are providing for army. And I know that in the United States, there is a great respect to army. So I feel like if you are inclined to do so, that would be very, very, very helpful as well. I know that a lot of Jews want to donate to Jewish causes, to help Jews. I totally understand that. And there are Jews who need help as well. But please, please, please also consider non-Jewish organizations, because first of all, it's very hard to separate Jews from non-Jews in Ukraine. We're much more kind of intertwined. We have like relatives, you know, almost every Jew that I know in Ukraine has non-Jewish relatives as well. So we cannot do that. Like we cannot help, you know, grandma and not help her husband, grandpa, who is like non-Jewish. So it's very important also to donate to non-Jewish organizations. And also just, you know, in general, we praise, you know, righteous of the world, people who saved Jews during Holocaust, risking their lives, you know, taking these Jews to their homes, hiding them. So I think now it's our turn to help non-Jews as well, like they helped us. So we can be righteous of the nation. So please, I ask you very, very sincerely also to consider donation to non-Jewish organizations. They're in this list as well, as I just told you. And the last link is news, verified information about Ukraine. If you're interested in reading official news from Ukraine, because there is a lot of fake news, misinformation, disinformation, all of that. So if you want to read there are specific sources of trusted Ukrainian English resources. So these are the links that I have. So you can choose what kind of charity speaks to you. You can also obviously send money directly to me, and then I transfer this money directly to people. But I think I will give you this information, Rabbi, personally, for anyone who would want to do that. I accept that totally. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for everyone who would want to donate. And if you have any questions about it, I'm happy to tell you.
We're going to open it up for questions for anyone, and they can just unmute themselves. But I still missed the last thing. If we wanted to donate directly to you, how is that done?
I will send you the information. I have a bank account here, and I have a bank account in Ukraine. So I transfer money from my bank account to that bank account. But I will tell you that later. So
got it.
Anyone who will want to donate to me directly will have to reach out to you. And
sounds good. Yeah, we're obviously not putting your bank account information on the, in the chat. Okay. All right. So people, it's a free for all. I don't know how else to do it. So if anyone wants to unmute and ask some questions.
Can I, Mark?
Mark? Go ahead. Hildy, go ahead.
I don't want to ask a question. I just want to say that I am so grateful to you at this moment. And I know probably everybody on this Zoom is feeling your love for your people, which comes through so clearly, your dedication. You're a lovely human being, and you're making a huge difference. And I would ask, as a parent and grandparent, that our wish is also for you to take care of yourself right now. And thank you so much for this introduction. With love.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Your kind words, they just mean so much to me. I wouldn't be able to continue my work if I didn't have support. So thank you so much for that. And I'm trying to take care of myself as much as I can. But also I have to tell you that the work that I'm doing, it gives me so much energy, like, and satisfaction. The feeling that I can actually help someone, even if I can't help everyone, but like even if I help like 1, 2, 3 people this day, it gives me a lot of hope, and it really helps me to continue. And it's time, it's Purim approaching, and I'm sure you all remember the story of Haman and Achashverosh and Esther and Mordechai, and you remember that story very well when Mordechai talks to Esther and tells her, if you remain silent in a time like this, the help to Jews will come from another place. And who knows, maybe you were brought by God to this position just for the time like this. And this is, I keep reminding this myself that, I have a chance. I am in the United States. I can help people from here. God gave me this opportunity to work, and I use this opportunity 100%. But also for you, you all came today for this talk. Hashem brought all of us together so we can do something and we can help. So, every one of us right now is like a King or Queen Esther. So that really helps. Okay, we have a question from Sandy.
Yes, thank you. Bless you. Maybe everyone on this call can take some of your pain away, but bless you, Rabbi, for everything you're doing. My mom, bless her, she was 99. She lives with me in Florida, but she said, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? But forgive me for my question. Has anybody mentioned the word surrender?
I haven't heard of that. All my friends, my relatives, they're all so optimistic and so brave. Like my father and mother-in-law, they are in Kiev right now. 2 days ago, bomb from Russian air forces fell in Babi Yar, and Babi Yar is the biggest mass grave of Jews from Second World War, Holocaust. This is the place where our Holocaust memorial is located, and this place was bombed again. So this is almost surreal, you know, everything that's happening and unbelievable. And this is a place where there's still a lot of, you know, remains of people who were killed there, still there. And this place, the Babi Yar, is like 15 minutes walk from where my mother and father-in-law are living. They're so close to that, and they did not complain even once. They didn't, you know, they're just so strong. And that's why every time I talk to them, they make me strong again. So I know I never heard anyone saying about surrender. I imagine that there might be people like that, especially people like who are like in the basement right now, you know, as I said, with no heat. You imagine it's actually pretty cold, you know, in Ukraine right now. Especially in the northern parts of Ukraine. So I imagine these thoughts might come to people, but I never heard anyone saying that. It's bravery of people. It's just, I just can't express it. It's just amazing. And if you listen to any speeches that Vladimir Zelensky, our president, is giving, you know that he's Jewish and he's also brave. It's incredible. And I listened to his speeches, and it gives me a lot of strength as well, because I believe in him, and he is just incredible. He's a hero. He's a real hero. And, you know, it's very unique. We have a Jewish president. It's the first time in our history. It's definitely unprecedented for, you know, European countries. I mean, it's even for the United States, I would say it's pretty hard to imagine a Jewish president, but here we are. Mayor of Kiev is Jewish as well. There are a couple of other, you know, ministers that are Jews. So we have a good Jewish team there. They're all showing very exceptional examples of bravery.
Can I segue from that question to my comment? Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Just the segue is that I heard an advisor for Zelensky say, we could run, but then we have to just fight the battle in the next place we run to. This fight has come to us now. And I think it's true. I think that the fight is coming to Ukraine now. And if we don't all stand up now, it's the next, tomorrow it will be in Poland and Moldova. And I'm just so uplifted by the bravery that I'm seeing. It's stunning. And from you as well. And I very much respect what you're doing. And I agree that the only way to feel good about this at all is to do something. And even doing one little thing does help.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to share that I just received a couple of emails. One is from a friend who is a writer who spent a lot of time in Poland and Ukraine, and connecting me with someone in Lviv who I could send money to directly. And just making the point that money going directly to individuals is more efficient than sending money through organizations. So I'm glad to hear that you're not funneling money through an organization, because that does delay those funds from getting to where they're needed, and they're needed yesterday.
Absolutely. Yes, you are absolutely right. I still think that these organizations, they also need money because they buy supplies, for example, that people cannot buy even if they have money. But you're absolutely right. There are situations when we need money right now or yesterday, and it is much, much, much faster to give it to people. Because as I said, like people who are stuck on the road with no gas, there is no organization that will transfer money to them. You know, also organizations typically don't sponsor, you know, gas and, you know, such things for transportation. So yeah, organizations don't give money to individuals. So absolutely, you're right. It is much faster, and there are people who need it right now. But as I repeat again, the people who don't trust, for example, you know, to give money, they don't know me, they can totally give money to this organization. Like I shared with you, Odessa, Tikva is a small organization. You know, it's not a huge JDC fund. It's a local organization in Odessa. Or Masorti is a smaller also organization. So I try to compile a list for you for smaller kind of organizations that are faster than the huge, you know, kind of joint, let's say, fund. Okay,
Thank you.
yeah, I
That's
see
also,
it. Yeah.
It's also why I delayed, like, you know, I've sent a couple, just the JDC and Masorti in the mass email I sent to the group, but everyone, a lot of people kept asking me where to, I don't, you know, you need to get something out to the congregation, but I really wanted to wait to get someone who is a local expert for a little more direct donation. So now we have this list, and you'll contact me if you want to donate to Tzipi directly.
Thank you. Okay, I see a question from David.
Hi, thank you. I have, I guess you can call it the geopolitical, the Jews and geopolitical question. The last I remember hearing about Jews and Ukraine, it was during the Second World War, where the stories are the Ukrainians certainly didn't object to what the Nazis were doing, and in many cases, admittedly part of because what they just hated the Russians, helped out. So how have, and obviously with, you know, multiple, you know, with the president, with the mayor, what happened over the last 60 years?
Well, you know, we survived, and then we kept living together. You know, don't forget that Ukraine was not it's not a Nazi Germany. It's a country that fought in the Second World War, lost millions of soldiers who fought with Nazis. So we cannot say that, you know, Ukraine was like, you know, against Jews in its entirety. And, you know, Jews who were killed there, like as I mentioned in Babi Yar, they were not killed by Ukrainians. They were killed by Nazi German troops. So don't forget about that as well. And, you know, history is interesting. We made peace. We continued, you know, our community is very diverse in Ukraine. Just in Kiev, we had, before war, we don't know what's going to happen now. So we had Reform congregation, conservative congregation, Chabad congregation, Orthodox Hasidic Karlin Stolin congregation. We had a secret Kabbalistic kind of a community, mystical one. We had a community of refugees from the eastern parts of Ukraine that were previously occupied. They had their community. They only let people from like Donetsk and Lugansk to be members of that community. They had their own thing. We have obviously Jewish kindergarten, school. We have like a secular community that is like cultural. We had Hillel. We had, you know, everything that you can imagine in United States. All these things, we have them there as well. It's just, you know, we have officially about 100,000 Jews in Ukraine. We had so far. Of course, now a lot of people left. We don't know what's going to happen, but we hope that the war will be over and people will be able to come back home. You know, not everyone wants to leave Ukraine. And as I said, there's still a lot of friends of mine who are in Kiev right now and did not want to leave Kiev and even in these circumstances. So yeah, this is what happened, I guess. But I'm here to testify as my example. I'm a Jew from there, and yeah, as I said, I taught in the university. We had a Jewish program, which taught a lot of Jewish subjects, and yeah, I had a lot of students. So it was very vibrant up until now.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. I can talk
Mariana,
about my communities a long time. So I love them so much. Okay.
Mariana, can you ask the next question? Mariana is a member of our congregation who was born in Ukraine, and I'm going to have her.
Hi.
If she wants to.
Hi.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow, you have really moved my soul today so much. I think as Rabbi Bloom said, you watch the news, but it doesn't really hit you as much as when there's someone like you that can really connect us to living souls and what their lives are like on the ground. Thank you. I still feel quite helpless. I'm very happy to give money, but it seems almost like a cop-out. Like, I wish that I could do more. Is there anything that we can do from afar from America besides give money?
Yes, there are a number of things that you can do. First of all, I think in the list that I gave you, or you can, if it's not there, that you can search online. One of the things you can do is to reach out to your local representatives in this Senate, politicals, the one that is from your party, those who represent you in the government. There are forms that you can reach out to them and raise awareness and say, that you want to help Ukraine or you feel for this country, because we really need a lot of political help, because you can see the other countries are being very slow in helping Ukraine. They kind of send Ukraine, like weapons. Maybe it's also kind of a coping mechanism, like send them weapons and let them deal on their own. But we're running out of people because our soldiers are being killed. We don't have like an infinite amount of souls to, to shed their blood in this massacre. So
what do we ask for specifically from our leadership here in America?
Okay, I will send you, give me a second. Here. So I'm sending this link as well. Okay, so this link, if you open it, there will be also a number of links, but it will have links such as write and call your elected officials, how to demand the world to help Ukraine, contact your congressional representatives. So there will be a couple of links there, and there is even a link to like Google document that will give you an example of how to write a message. So please look into this. I will also send it to Rabbi Bloom, so you will all get it later.
That's helpful. I also have a second question, if you don't mind. I feel like the news is highlighting the effectiveness of the sanctions, and I wonder if that's true. Is it actually doing anything to people on the ground that are really hurting?
So far, it had nothing, didn't do anything so far. We're hoping that it will have effect, like as the Russian economy is now suffering more and more, we are hoping that it will kind of help something, but so far, no, there was no effective sanctions whatsoever. As you see, the war wasn't stopped, not even slowed down. So,
right.
Yeah, unfortunately, there was no effect. We're hoping that there will be effect, but sanction, again, we understand that many countries don't want to get involved with Russia because they're afraid of the, third world war. But if you look there, it looks like Russia is not going to stop. It's not like they're going to, kill all of Ukrainians and then it will be world peace. It's not So if they're not going to act now, it will be just too late. So, I mean, I'm not a politician, and I'm sure they have more, intelligence and information that I do, but I'm like kind of sharing with you the perspective of people in Ukraine, how they feel about it. So yeah, sanctions have not been helpful so far. Another thing that I want to suggest that you can do, again, you can, for example, as your community, make some kind of an event, say that we, for example, I don't know, buy some Ukrainian flags, make some photos, say we raised this amount of money, for example, and put it online so other communities see what you are doing, and they maybe can join as well and share information. Like creating this kind of events, posting them on social media is also helpful because it attracts more people and give them example to do something like that. So you also can use kind of your creative approach to that and see what you can do in the community. Maybe some kind of, we had an example of one of my students, my colleagues, one of our classmates, mine and Jessica's, his name is Dave Yedid, and they did like a marathon, like when they ran, and for each mile they donated like a couple of dollars, and they made this kind of an event. I mean, all of this is also important. It is important, it's important as a part of informational campaign and also as an emotional support for people as well. Okay. Are there any more questions?
I guess I just want to share something that I read from the Israel Times today, that a sort of a tech whiz at Harvard has created a website to link hosts with Ukrainians. It's a secure site, so I'll add the information to that to send out to our community. I think it seems like a well-designed, effective way to help people find a place to stay for an extended period.
There are so many resources like that, and we have a lot of volunteers, and we have like a lot of people involved with it. It unfortunately is not that organized and not that easy, because the situation changes like every minute, and more people are arriving everywhere. So it's very difficult kind of job to maintain, and there's no like, there's no one database or like one resource that have like all of the information, because we will try to create such a resource. It will not be functional because you also need resources to to keep resources running. Yes, I have a question from Sam.
Yeah, I hear what Francis and you are both saying. I'm a little reluctant to go through untested sites to send money to. Some part of me wants to just pay the extra 12% and know that it's a tested site and that the money will get there. And if the Israeli Times has, is publishing something, 98% says it's all good, but there's too much bad stuff happening. So I'm a little
get in the line over here.
doing that. Just
Yes.
think myself.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing this up. I totally understand, and I'm not criticizing you for that. If you don't feel comfortable, you don't feel safe, don't do that. They're absolutely 100%, as I said, JDC, for example, or joined, you can donate to them. It's 100 guaranteed.
Yeah.
So absolutely, I'm not, insisting. I understand the discomfort. I totally understand that. They also need money, so it's, it's not wrong. I'm just.
No, please don't get me wrong. I don't mean any offense to anybody or any sites or, how people are doing it. I'm just hearing too much stuff going on right now.
Do you want to share what kind of stuff do you mean?
No, just in general. I mean, with, the whole world is up about cyber attacks and so on. And, I'm just not sure how secure things are.
I understand.
David Schaefer, are you trying to speak? Because we don't, I see you're not muted, but.
No, I'm in the airport listening and down in Palm Springs. I apologize. I'm trying to listen. That's all.
Okay, no problem. Okay. Any other questions for Tzipi? And we're gonna, we'll stay on till about 5, but we want to make sure she has lots of time to do the work, the continuing work that she needs to do. I mean, it's incredibly generous for you to give up your time for us today, for us to learn. We really cannot appreciate it enough. And everybody's moved to tears.
Thank you
Rabbi,
for
can I
having
ask a
me.
question?
Yes, sure.
This is David Schaefer. I'm in Palm Springs at airport, but my grandfather happens to be from Berdichev, so kind of fascinating for me to hear you speak today. I was just curious, do you have any thoughts on if we don't have a no-fly zone, is there any hope for Ukraine to survive? And should we demand our government put through a no-fly zone to save the country? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes. Thank you, David, for bringing this up. Yes, this is one thing that we're constantly asking for. We need this no-fly zone. It will really, really save us, because Russia is not good in land operations, but they have pretty strong air forces, and they're bombing our cities so heavily, and so many cities already destroyed. Some of them destroyed 80%. So this is what we are really, 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 really asking for. Everyone in Ukraine is asking for no-fly zone over that protected air, protected sky, what they call it in Ukraine. So thank you for bringing this 100%.
Okay. Stay safe and even this.
Sorry, I can't hear you. It's a bit choppy.
We pray you survive and thrive. We pray that everybody will survive and thrive in the days ahead.
Thank you so much. We need all your prayers.
Thank you, Tzipi. Thank you.
Don't forget to pray. We
Thank
really
you.
need that.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have any more questions?
Well, I would just like to comment.
David, can you mute yourself, please?
Okay.
Okay, great. Yes, Myra.
I just would like to say it's so wonderful to see you again by coincidence, but you are a very inspiring person, and your activism is very moving. So I've been so sad and helpless feeling, and you want to move and you want to get things going. It's great.
Thank you. I just really, really want to save as many people as I can. I don't think that there is anything worse in lives than war. I cannot imagine anything worse than that. And I don't think that there is anything more important than saving lives. So have been missing a lot of classes at my school lately, I have to say. I hope that they will still graduate and will be ordained. But yeah, it's, what can I say? We have to do that.
Yeah. My father left Odessa at the time of the revolution and talked about what a wonderful place it was to go down to the Black Sea. I'm sorry, I should mute myself. My phone is ringing.
Unfortunately, Odessa is one of the cities that are in very big danger, because it is first of all, it's on the Black Sea shore, but also it's kind of very close to Crimea, which was occupied by Russia, 8 years ago. So yeah, it's one of the very unsafe cities right now, unfortunately. But as I said, there is a link to donate specifically to Odessa community.
Thank you, Myra. Are you still have another comment?
Well, he talked about how wonderful it was going to Odessa, and they would go to the opera, and talked about the Black Sea, and now it's all just chaos now. It's hard to accept. Well, it's not accepting it, but just the sadness of, they asked my father to join the revolution. He said no, he was going to New York.
Thank you, Myra.
It is very sad, but we don't have time for sadness, because if I start being sad and cry, then all my energy will go into my tears, and I don't have that energy right now. So I was, I'm in a very paradoxical way, I'm kind of grateful for the opportunity that I can actually help someone. So I'm like, I don't feel that sad as I could have felt if I felt helpless. Not feeling helpless gives a lot of energy to continue. Though I have to tell you, it is very scary, especially when your family is there and I cannot get them out of there. It's very scary.
Thank you again. We pray for not just people of Ukraine, but we pray specifically for your family and for Chazak V'nit Chazek, as we read from the Torah yesterday, for you to continue your resolve and your strength and the gifts that you're giving to the Jewish people and the Ukrainian people.
If I read quickly a prayer?
Please.
I'll just read it in English. And it's a prayer that is, it is a prayer, it's called the prayer of Rabbi Nachman. He is buried in Uman, and Uman was bombed also in the process of that. And yeah, it's just there. So I'll read the English version. May it be your will, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors, to put an end to war and bloodshed on earth, and to spread a great and wonderful peace over the whole world, so that nations shall not lift up sword against nation, neither they shall learn war anymore. May all inhabitants of this planet come to recognize and know the ultimate truth. We did not come to this world for strife and division, nor for hatred and envy, no rage and bloodshed. We came to this world only to know you. May you be blessed for all eternity.
And that, I think, is a fitting.
Amen.
Amen. That's a fitting way to end. And Tzipi will be in touch with me specifically about how people can donate directly to you. It may just be by sending you an email to start, but anyway, let me know. And I will send that out to the congregation as well. Probably tomorrow, I'll send out the specific, I'll resend her links. I'll send out how to contact her. And finally, most of this was recorded. I will try to get that up on the YouTube channel as well. So thank you again. God bless.
Thank you, and God bless all of you. Thank you so much for coming today and giving me a space to talk. It really, really, really means a lot, and it's very, very important.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for spending the time.
Bye-bye.